The Presidential Election Petition Court has dismissed the motion of the All Democratic Party seeking to amend the list of its witnesses. Lydia Oche has the details.
In a unanimous decision read by Justice Mohammed Garba, described the motion as an abuse of court process. The five-man presidential election court maintained that the prayer of the petitioners to equally amend the statements on oath of their witnesses, which the law required to accompany a petition, should be done within the time frame of 21 days after the announcement of election results. The court ruled that the prayer of the Hope Democratic Party and its candidate was barred and lacking in merit. In a related development, the motion of the People's Democratic Movement to withdraw from the petition earlier filed in conjunction with its candidate Amin Chihabu has been struck out. The five-man presidential election petition court, led by Justice Mohammed Garba, gave the order at this Thursday's hearing. In a unanimous ruling, the court justices ruled that the motion was filed outside the pre-hearing session without the leave of the court, in line with paragraph 47, subsection 1 of the first schedule of the Electoral Act. This non-compliance with the Act, Justice Mohammed Garba said, was fatal to the motion and denied the court the jurisdiction to entertain the matter.
Meanwhile, heads of intelligence and security services across Africa have begun a brainstorming session towards finding lasting solutions to illicit financial outflows from the continent in view of their devastating consequences on national security and development. It is the 16th Ordinary Session of Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, hosted by the National Intelligence Agency. President Muhammadu Buhari, who declared the session opened, described the task as not only laudable but essential to Africa's prosperity and stability. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
It is estimated that African countries lose over $60 billion annually due to illicit financial outflows, a figure much higher than the total aid coming to the continent. In fact, records from the United Nations show that between 1980 to 2009, nearly $1.4 trillion was taken out of Africa, a continent in dire need of development finance. This Conference of African Intelligence and Security Services is therefore an attempt to lay a solid base for collaborative efforts required towards stemming the tide.
In Nigeria, we have risen to the challenge. The fight against corruption remains at the core of our efforts to accelerate national development. We have recorded successes even though the perpetrators are not giving up and are trying to fight back. I am therefore pleased that this conference will boost the sense of urgency that we collectively have about this devastation and raise our response capacity at operational levels.
Firm and unwavering action, President Buhari said, is imperative towards achieving the objectives as terrorist networks and other criminal syndicates actively undermining the security and stability of Africa not only fund their operations from the proceeds of crime, but are implicated in much of the illicit financial outflows from the continent.
I therefore urge you to develop actionable strategies to stem the flow of illicit funds from our continent. Give priority to examining the links between crime and instability on our continent, and propose measures to ensure that terrorists and criminals are denied access to our financial systems.
Incoming chairperson of CISA and General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, said other than direct harm to economies, illicit financial outflows facilitate financing of terrorist organizations, criminal ventures, and other subversive activities which constitute an existential threat to the continent, which no amount of foreign assistance can undo.
Putting an end to illicit financial outflows and several other security challenges is a task that we can and must do. We want to give assurance of CISA's continued efforts to fight all forms of security threats, including traditional, and emerging trans-border crimes such as illicit financial flows.
Our partnership with CISA is vital for our collective efforts to promote peace, and we must continue working together to strengthen it. More specifically, special attention should be paid to the complex competition between superpowers, the spillover from the Gulf crisis, and their adverse impact on our continent. The Committee of Intelligence and Security Services of Africa, CISA, was established in Abuja 15 years ago to build bridges of cooperation, collaboration, brotherhood, and solidarity towards confronting emerging security challenges facing the continent. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And moving on, community involvement, citizen participation have been realized as necessary steps in addressing Nigeria's security challenges. These and many more solutions were tabled after the challenges were identified by experts on NTA Current Affairs program Good Morning Nigeria. Lydia Oparachi has more.
The Nigerian Police Force and other security agencies have been commended in their efforts so far in combating crimes and insecurity in the country. The guest on Good Morning Nigeria, however, says a lot still needs to be done in terms of community policing and cultivation of local support for crime prevention and eradication in Nigerian communities.
Police is the statutory agency charged with maintenance of internal security. And there is no way the police can achieve that without building confidence and trust of the people. We must develop trust in our own police so that we appreciate their capacity and what they can do. If we build the trust in them with what they continue to do, it will also give the military opportunity to concentrate efforts in specific areas.
The experts urged the Nigerian police to increase the number of forest guards and deploy more technological equipment as a force multiplier to high volatile areas like the eastern parts of the country.
People should not politicize or bring religion into it. I say these are our boys. No, they are attacking religion. And I think we must stop stigmatizing religion and tribe and the rest.
Every information given to us, we treat those informations as very important thing. They are valuables. They're important to us. And the informants are also very important to us.
They also appeal to the public to have more confidence in Nigerian police and support them by reporting any suspicious criminal activities around them in Abuja. Alika Opanachi, Arua.
Meanwhile, the United Nations have convened a summit to educate participants on how to intensify the fight against violence against women and children. Our correspondent has the details.
Nigerian women unanimously chanting for a nation where all women and girls would be free from violence and harmful practices.
Nigeria has been selected as one of the priority countries of Africa.
Focus will be on prevention, particularly addressing the root cause of gender-based violence and harmful practices.
It's one of the visible political and financial investments from the EU to the tune of about 500 million euros.
And it's going to bring peace, unity amongst us in FCT and in Nigeria in general.
The event is the inception of the Spotlight Initiative, where relevant arms of government, development partners, and civil society organizations are strategizing to reawaken the consciousness of Nigerian women to speak out against all forms of violence and also take advantage of institutions and mechanisms in place to give them justice.
The culture of silence has led to the deaths of numerous women, and we cannot continue to bury women and girls. So we need to speak up. As a woman, even if it's your husband that is violating your child, you should speak up. The whole fear of stigma should not stop you from saving your child, because the interest of your child should be paramount rather than just safeguarding the name of the family. So we're looking at capacity building of institutions, identifying the specific institutions that are supposed to be working in this area and how to ensure that we can support them. We're also looking at social norms.
When you see something, say something is a popular phrase the gathering is now adapting to move away from talking to real action